It was another series win for the Atlanta Braves this weekend, but they continue to throw games away with the fifth starter spot. We'll talk about that and also this Miners Monday episode. We got a lot of good things to discuss with some guys down on the farm, so we'll talk about that on today's episode of Locked On Braves. So let's get into it.
You are Locked On Braves, your daily Atlanta Braves podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, and welcome back to Locked On Braves, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your favorite Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I am your host, Jacob Mastriani. You can follow me on Twitter at shortstopball. Also, make sure you check out my written work over at bravestoday.com. Make sure you follow the podcast on Twitter at LockedOn_Braves. Send in any questions, comments, or feedback that you have for the podcast. If you're new and watching on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Trying to get to 7,000 subscribers before the postseason. We're 6,700 right now, so appreciate all the support there. And you can continue to support the show by just hitting that thumbs up button to help spread it. More people get their eyes on the podcast. Thanks so much for making Locked On Braves your first listen of each and every day. We got a lot of people to shout out from Friday's mailbag episode. You haven't given that a listen, make sure that you go back and do so. A variety of questions there that we talked about. So always enjoy those Mailbag Friday episodes. But Dogbone Jack, who listens on the way to work in the afternoons, is an everydayer. Just Us Kindle on Spotify, getting ready for middle school. Michael Elsie, Pearl, Mississippi. Coach Larry listens at work. You got C-Dub, Daniel Brickman, Alex Burke, who says enjoy or who listens while working out on the bike and rowing machine. So good job. Keep pushing through there while you're listening this morning or afternoon. Marty Newell, Glenn Ishii from Hawaii. We're all jealous of that. Gary Gibson from Fort Myers. Not bad either. Scott Bingham, David from the Outer Banks, and GT Blaze. So thank you so much for letting me know that you are an everydayer of Locked On Braves. On today's podcast, we'll recap the weekend. It was a series win, even though it ended with a little bit of frustration on Sunday Night Baseball. We'll discuss all that. What's going on with this fifth starter spot? That's the thing that really has just been bothering me a lot this year, and what's been an incredible season for the Braves, that the way they've handled that fifth starter spot has been a bit of a frustration point for me. So we'll discuss all of that. Offense kind of getting back on track as they head to Colorado. That's great. Got Bryce Elder pitching on Monday. Looking forward to seeing him. And obviously it's Monday, so we got our Miners Monday to talk about. Minor league season's coming to a close here pretty soon, so a lot of these guys trying to put finishing touches on their 2023 season. We'll discuss all of that. Let's jump into the weekend recap, though. A series win over the Giants. I have the exact same script, top of my script, as last weekend. A sweep over the Giants, or a series win over the Giants that feels like it could have been a sweep over the Giants. But that third game, they just continue to kind of give away right now. I don't want to say give it away. They're out there trying to win, but it just kind of feels that way with the way things are being managed, which we'll get into. And let's just dive into that. Sunday's frustration. You had Jared Schuster starting. You knew maybe it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle, but I thought he pitched pretty well. Worked into the fifth inning, was 1 out away from, getting through 5 innings, only allowing 2 earned. He did lead with some runners on base. And then Snicker goes to Colin McHugh, and I get it. That's the spot for McHugh in that 5th, 6th inning to try to bridge that gap. And McHugh has to get it done. But he doesn't. He comes in, he walks Flores. And I was fine with the Flores walk. Don't let their best hitter just punish you. See if he'll chase that sweeper cutter off the plate away. He didn't. You had a base open. You walk Flores. That's fine. But then you come right back and you walk J.D. Davis with pitches that aren't even really close. And you walk in the tying run. That just cannot happen. You cannot do that. So that's bad. And then you give up a hit on the next play. Tough play for Olsen. Look, I'm usually pretty critical of the defense, but that's one play. Look, half of Matt Olsen is in sunlight, half of Matt Olsen is in shadows. The ball's hit at 96 miles per hour. He tries to backhand it on a short hop. Like I said, don't know how well he could see the baseball. Maybe that's just an excuse. Tough play. And it's a hanging sweeper right over the middle of the plate. So, McHugh put it on a tee for him, and he hit it very hard. Like I said, a one hop, short hop that Olsen has to try to backhand while, coming from the shadows to the sun, all of that into effect there. Bottom line, there was a play to be made, and Olsen didn't make it, and he needs to. But again, not the easiest of plays, and it was hit pretty hard as McHugh just kind of left it hanging over the middle of the plate. But I still go back to the J.D. Davis at bat. That just a walk there cannot happen with the bases loaded. It just cannot happen. You're talking about a veteran in McHugh. You got to come in and throw strikes there and make J.D. Davis beat you. And he didn't. And it ended up, in a big inning. And then Ozuna gets you back in the game with a 2-run homer, and Snitker brings McHugh back out for the 6th inning. That's the one right there. I don't understand. I get it. You're trying to save your best bullpen arms. It's one game. You got 40 games over 500. I get it. Why not go with Tonkin? I mean, clearly McHugh didn't have it. Why not go to Tonkin then and see if Tonkin can get you through a couple of innings and see if the offense, can stay in the game or perhaps take the lead? That's the decision that I don't get. You want to go with McHugh there in the 5th to try to get you out of that inning and then maybe get you one more, that's fine. But once McHugh looks like he does, you got to pivot your game plan there a little bit. But that's a little bit of frustration again on Sunday night. You're going for the sweep. You already won the first 2 games. I guess one of my frustrations is that you use your best relievers in those first 2 games where maybe you didn't need to. Maybe you could have saved them for this night. Maybe you could have gone to Kirby Yates, Pierce Johnson to get you out of that jam in the 5th inning and then, again, see what the offense is going to do. If you do that, maybe the game's still tied or winning and you do go with some of your better arms. I get your 40 games over 500. It's not that big of a deal. And maybe that's the way they're playing it, that every 5th day, they're going to throw a 5th starter that maybe you don't fully trust, and you're going to go with McHugh and Tonkin to get you through the game and just save the rest of your arms. And maybe that's the game plan every 5th day now. I don't love that, but it just seems like that's the case right now, that every 5th game, they're going to throw out a Chirinos or a Schuster or a Winans or somebody else, and then they're just going to back them up no matter what the situation in the game is with McHugh and Tonkin and just save the rest of your arms. That's what it feels like right now. And that's kind of frustrating to me as a fan. And that's where I want to get to kind of my next topic here. And what are we doing with the 5th starter spot? I get there's been injuries all year long, and this isn't an easy decision, and it's hard to kind of figure out and plug guys in. You've had 5 guys who have gotten 5 starts or fewer this year. Chirinos, Don, and Soroka have all gotten 5 starts this season. A.J. Smith-Shawver's gotten 4. Alan Winans has gotten 3. Of that group, only A.J. Smith-Shawver has an ERA under 5. He has an ERA of 4.57. 10 starts from Schuster. And I had this conversation with Grant McCauley off air the other night where we were kind of talking about this. And his point was, and it makes a lot of sense, no one's really taken the job. They've given opportunities to all these guys. Nobody's really taken hold of it. My counter argument to that is, and Grant's right, and he's absolutely right. Nobody's really taken hold of this spot. My counter argument is, who's really been given that chance? Only Chirinos has been given a chance to get consecutive starts. He got 5 starts in a row, and he's a guy with a 9.27 ERA. Soroka, it's come up, get a couple of starts, send him back down, come up another start, send him back down. Same thing with Winans. It's like, who's really been given the opportunity to get, a 4-5 start stretch to really see what they can do? And I think that's my biggest frustration with this 5th starter spot, is it just seems like nobody's really been given a chance to hold on to it. And you just keep yo-yoing these guys back and forth, which we talked about before. And I don't love that. I think that's a detriment to these guys. They got a plan. Clearly, the Braves have a plan. I tell you this all the time. They are far smarter than me, and they know what they are doing. They have a plan, I think. But it's just, as a fan perspective, an outsider perspective who doesn't perhaps know that plan and can't see the big picture, for me, it's frustrating that it just feels like every 5th day we're somewhat punting a game on the pitching side. Or we're throwing a guy who's getting, dragged back and forth from the minor leagues. Who knows what his role in? I mean, Schuster came up and it's a situation where if you needed him to pitch earlier in the week, if somebody got knocked out or injured, he would. If not, then, hey, he'll pitch on Sunday. It's just like you keep moving these guys up back and forth. They can't get in a rhythm. And then on top of that, they're not going to go more than 5 innings, and you're going to back them up with your 2 worst bullpen arms. that's the frustration for me, is just I don't feel like these guys are being set up for success in the way that they're being worked into the rotation. But again, they got a plan. I'm sure they have a plan. I'm not privy to that plan. None of you are, but it's just from an outsider's perspective, kind of frustrating to see how they've handled this fifth starter spot this year. And again, to Grant's point that he made to me off air, nobody's taken that job. Nobody, like I said, AJ Smith-Shawver is the only one who has an ERA under 5, and I'm sure they're trying to limit his innings this year as a part of that. We've talked about with Soroka. I think they're trying to get another year of service time for him. I think that's why he's been handled the way that he has. But, Winans can't get 5 starts in a row to see what he can do. I mean, I just feel like they haven't really set these guys up for a lot of success. And I think on top of that, the thing that frustrates me the most is that Chirinos is the only guy who's been given that extended run of continued, opportunities. For everybody else, it's been, up a couple starts, down, up a start, down. It's just, I feel like they haven't really given a lot of these guys a chance to take hold of that spot. If you're expecting them to come up and throw 6 shutout innings, and then that's, them taking the job and then follow that up with another, quality start. If that's what you're expecting out of your fifth starter, then maybe our expectations are way higher than they need to be. So again, that's me just kind of living in the moment, because you look at big picture, Braves are 40 games over 500. They got a huge lead in the NL East. They have a pretty, sizable lead for best record in baseball, or at least a little bit of a comfortable lead right now. They already won the first 2 games of this series. I got to feel if that weren't the case, Snicker probably manages that game a little bit differently. So I understand all of that. This isn't necessarily just a Sunday night game thing for me. It's really been a lot of the season thing for me, where they're just yo-yoing these guys back in the 5th starter spot. I don't feel like it's setting up any of them for success. But again, not a huge thing. I don't want anybody to think that I'm, too caught up on that. It's just something kind of wanted to get off my chest, but I understand the big picture here. And I'm sure the Braves are looking big picture and have that all in plan and in perspective. And if this team wasn't 40 games over 500 with such a big lead, I'm sure they'd be handling it a little bit differently. On the good side of things over the weekend, Spencer Strider, Max Fried, they looked good. 7 dominant innings from Strider. Fried had to battle a little bit, but got through 6 innings, just 2 earned. And those 2, with the way that Charlie Morton looks right now, I mean, is this the best possible postseason rotation when all these guys are on? I think they certainly have a case to be. Still got a little bit over a month to get there, but the way these guys are throwing the ball right now, starting to feel really comfortable in what this postseason rotation could look like. And then the offense back to normal, 7 runs, 5 runs, 7 runs in the series. Again, against a good Giants pitching staff. Know they kind of have some holes they're trying to plug in their rotation right now. But, back to seeing this offense scoring 5 or more runs a game over their past 4 games now. And they're going to Colorado, where you figure things are going to heat up even more. Matt Olson with 7 hits in his last 4 games now, including 3 doubles. Still hasn't got that home run. Couldn't quite get one over the right field wall this past weekend, as he did put a dent in it, but looks like he's starting to get back on track as well. So get him going, get Riley going, get Acuna going. He was 0 for 4 Sunday. He has 2 hits in his last 3 games. So I guess that's his cool down right now for Ronald Acuna Jr., but look for him to get going again, that top of the order. But the bottom part, getting it done right now, which is great to see. All right, next we'll turn our attention to the minor league level, where we had some great performances again this past week. A lot of these Braves prospects really starting to heat up down the stretch, which is great, carrying that momentum into next season. We'll discuss all that next. At one time or another, we all need a little financial help, and that's why Dave is great. Dave can get you cash when you need a hand between paychecks and can help you build credit by settling extra cash advances on time. Dave is the banking app that's leveling the financial playing field. When you download Dave, you can get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. It's part of Dave's extra cash account. Advance the money you need with no interest and then settle up later. Extra cash gives you more money to buy groceries, fill your tank, finally get your car repaired, or catch up on bills without having to wait for your next paycheck. Download Dave today at dave.com/MLB. That's dave.com/MLB, and you can get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. Download the Dave app now or go to dave.com/MLB. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Eligibility criteria and instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve, member FDIC. Braves will face the Rockies on Monday night at 8:40 p.m. Eastern. Hey, take advantage. That's your early game for the week. Catch every pitch of the Braves hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Braves. All right, it's our Minors Monday segment. Like I said, got a lot of great performances, but at the top, unfortunately, A.J. Smith-Shawver listed on the 7-day IL at Gwinnett. As always, we don't get a lot of information of what those injuries are. Could perhaps just be a way to limit his innings. We'll see if he pitches this week. Could he be in line to pitch Wednesday, make a start for the Braves? Does he get another opportunity? We'll see later this week. Owen Murphy, 6 innings, 8 hits, 1 walk, 3 earned, 4 strikeouts. So good to see him go through 6 innings as he got bumped up there to Rome. So again, good to see him be able to get another quality start under his belt. Braden Shoemake, 2 for 21, no walks, 6 strikeouts, 1 stolen base. As I watch Nicky Lopez play, I kind of think, could that be Braden Shoemake's role in a couple of years? I know Lopez is technically under control for a couple of more seasons, but if the bat doesn't come around for Braden Shoemake, I've always thought he was a bench player, utility guy anyway, but could he be somebody that is that bench utility guy, left-handed side, who plays good defense up the middle and could be that bench guy? I think that's a possible solution or spot for Braden Shoemake again if this bat doesn't come around, which unfortunately looks like may not be the case. Spencer Schwellenbach finally made his debut at Rome, coming back from injury, went just 2 2/3 innings, only allowed 2 hits and a walk, but 3 earned runs, but did get also got 3 strikeouts. Darius Vines, could he get a shot in the 5th starter spot here soon? He's been throwing the ball well. 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, no walks, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts in his last outing at Gwinnett. Ambioris Tavares led Augusta with 8 hits this past week, including a double, 1 walk, and just 7 strikeouts. That's a good week for him. I said the other week, anytime he's under 10 strikeouts in a week right now, that's a huge positive for Tavares. So hopefully he's closing out the season strong. I said from the very beginning, I'm more interested in what he looks like the last 2 months of the season than the first 2 months. He hasn't played a while, hasn't played full season professional baseball. So hopefully he's starting to turn things around, especially in the strikeout department. Dylan Dodd, 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 walks, 2 earned, 1 home run, and 5 strikeouts. He has been much better since coming back from that little hiatus that he had. Could he get another opportunity here soon? We'll see. Going back up to Darius Vines, 5 starts in AAA now, 28 1/3 innings, a 2.86 ERA, which is great. 1.27 whip is okay. 25 hits, 11 walks, 25 strikeouts. So again, he's been really good since coming up to Gwinnett. He could get an opportunity. Who knows what they're going to do with that 5th starter spot. Ignacio Alvarez, just 2 for 19 this past week. Did have a double and a home run with those 2 hits, but no walks and 4 strikeouts. Mentioned last week, he only played in 1 game. And then when he came back this week, he was DHing, so maybe still having some sort of soreness. Again, we get no injury updates hardly at the minor league level. So apparently still dealing with something, maybe played into his slow week a little bit. But we'll see what happens with him this coming up week. And then down at Gwinnett, going league by league here, Forrest Wall just continues to hit at AAA, 7 for 18, a double, a homer, 2 walks, 2 stolen bases. I still think he's a candidate for the postseason roster with that speed, but we'll see what happens there. Hoy Park, 6 for 16, 2 doubles and a triple. Yomer Sanchez, 6 for 13, a double, a homer, 6 walks, and a stolen base. Michael Soroka, on the pitching side of things, you're going to look at his final line here. 5 innings, just 3 hits and 1 walk. He did hit a batter, but 4 earned runs. Doesn't seem great. 5 innings, 4 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. But you go back and you look at the summary of the game. He retired the first 11 batters he faced. He retired 15 of the first 16 batters. So through the first 5 innings, he had a no-hitter. His only blemish was that he hit a batter. So a no-hitter through 5 innings. He goes back out for the 6th, and it goes walk, single, double, single. All 4 of those runs come around to score eventually. He got pulled at 81 pitches. So a bit of a confusing outing for Michael Soroka, who had a no-hitter for 5 innings, and then the first 4 batters of the 6th all reach and score to really tarnish that line. But again, I think he's going to get another shot later in September. I think they're just holding out for the service time. It's the only thing that really makes sense at this point. other than they also just want to continue to manage his pitches. Alan Winans, 5 innings, 4 hits, no walk, 1 earned, 3 strikeouts, doing what Alan Winans has done pretty much all year at AAA. At Mississippi, Cal Conley, 7 for 23, a double, a triple, 3 walks, 4 stolen bases. Luke Waddell, 7 for 25, a double, and 6 RBIs. Cade Bunnell and Landon Stevens each hit 2 home runs and a double this past week as well. And Cody Milligan had 6 hits, including 2 triples on the week. Domingo Robles at Mississippi, 6 innings, 5 hits and a walk, a hit batter, 2 earned, and 6 strikeouts. And then Hayden Harris, 3 innings, no hits, 2 walks, no earned, and 4 strikeouts. He is suddenly becoming a pretty interesting reliever prospect in the Braves system. He has a 3.93 ERA on the year, but just a 1.18 WHIP and 84 strikeouts in 52 2/3 innings. He's gone from Augusta all the way up to Mississippi. At Double A Mississippi, he has a 2.22 ERA, a 1.20 WHIP, and 43 strikeouts in 28 1/3 innings. So, pouring up the strikeouts, doing really good there. So again, could be a reliever to watch in the future. At Rome, Drake Baldwin is on absolute fire, 9 for 15, 2 doubles, 3 home runs. And in August, he's slashing 393, 493, 754 with 7 doubles, 5 home runs, 10 walks, and 13 strikeouts. I don't know what the future holds for him behind the plate, or if he becomes a DH first baseman or what, but obviously the bat is playing and he is getting better as the season goes along. I mentioned it going into spring training. I thought it was very interesting and significant that he got a spring training invite to work with those catchers, work with Travis d'Arnaud, work with Sean Murphy. So hopefully they are kind of grooming him as maybe that potential future catcher for the Braves, or the way that it's been going lately, maybe the Braves trade him for another superstar. But again, he certainly has got it going with the bat. Justin Giannis at Rome as well, 5 for 16 with the double. And then Hurston Waldrep, 4 2/3 innings, 3 hits, no walks, no earned, and 10 strikeouts. Now in 15 professional innings, he's allowed just 7 hits. He has walked 6 batters, but just 2 earned runs and 25 strikeouts. So again, I said it pre-draft. I thought there was no way he would drop to the Braves. I was super ecstatic when he did, and the Braves drafted him. I'm trying to keep my expectations down right now because he's obviously off to a pretty dominant start. He's already up to high A. I don't think we'll see him get a move to Double A this year, but who knows? I mean, he threw 100 innings at Florida, so I was a little surprised to see him throw this many innings. I said he probably wouldn't throw more than 20, but the way he's looking right now, he's probably going to start next season at Double A. If not, he'll be there pretty soon, but he is right now carving up single A hitters, which is great to see, and what you hope to see from a college guy that has the stuff that he has. At Augusta, Jace Grady is the 2023, bat with Sabine Sabalas being injured and not playing right now. That's kind of gotten it going at Augusta. 6 for 18 this past week, 3 doubles, 3 walks, 2 stolen bases. In 19 games now at Augusta, he's slashing 271, 350, 443 with 6 doubles, 2 homers, 7 stolen bases. So 11th round pick from this past draft. Again, nobody else has really on the offensive side from this past draft gotten it going. Mentioned Sabalos. I think if he weren't injured, I think he might be pushing to play at Rome right now. I think his bat is that good, but Jace Grady's really the only other one right now that's showing a little bit of promise there with the bat. Obviously, these are short sample sizes, but good to see him get going. Giancarlos Lara, he continues to have some good outings here lately as his stock is rising. 6 innings, just 1 hit, no walks, no earned, and 9 strikeouts. So that is certainly impressive. Samuel Strickland, 4 innings, no hits, no walks, no earned, 7 strikeouts. And Lucas Braun, 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 walk, 1 earned, 6 strikeouts. He's a 2023 draft pick that has looked really good as well. Maybe not to the dominant level of a Hurston Waldrep, but still 17 1/3 innings now, 14 hits, just 2 walks, just 2 earned runs, and 19 strikeouts. So another 2023 pitcher that's looking really solid in his professional debut. And then at the FCL level, they actually won their championship, the FCL championship. That league's now over, and Isaiah Drake finished really hot in that league. This coming from Garrett Spain on X. He says in the last 11 games, concluding the regular season and the postseason, he hit 372, 491, 419 slug. Want to see that slug go up a little bit, but 12 stolen bases. So good to see him getting going later in this. Again, still a young kid, but one of the guys out of the past draft with maybe the most upside potential. So good to see him get going after a slow start. Still, the strikeouts are a bit worrisome, even for a young kid at that level. Would like to see that improve a little bit, but good to see him hitting the ball a lot better and getting on base towards the end of his professional debut. I assume that's going to be the end of his professional debut, but good to see that, and good to see a team win a championship, even if it is at the FCL level. So that's your minor league recap for the week. Hopefully you enjoy that. Hope you're excited about some of these prospects that you're hearing about. I certainly am. I feel like last couple of weeks now, we've had some really good standout performances at the minor league level, and that's certainly exciting to hear and talk about for this Braves team and the farm system that's considered one of the worst in baseball. I think there's still some really good hidden gems in here, especially on the pitching side. So that's, again, great to see. All right, next I'll set you up for Monday night's game where the Braves will be taking on the Rockies. Offense looking to put up some big runs, and Bryce Elder looking to keep the ball in the ballpark. We'll discuss that next. If you want a chance to win more money with less picks, head to Sleeper, the #1 sports app where you can win up to 100 times your money on just 2 or more fantasy baseball picks. Do you think Matt Olson can hit a home run tonight against the Rockies? He's certainly due to hit one, and he's playing in a great ballpark for it. We certainly think that can happen. With Sleeper, you can swing for the fences with up to 100-time payout. All you have to do is choose 2 or more players that you like and select more or less on their stat categories like home runs, strikeouts, hits, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win big. Sleeper's got other things going on as well, like full season fantasy football, where I started a Locked On Braves fantasy football league. Really looking forward to that. That draft's happening this week. You want to know more about that, let me know, but really looking forward to that. Sleeper's been super easy to use. Their app is so user-friendly, and it's a lot of fun as you can chat with your friends in there that are in your league. So really great app to use for daily fantasy baseball, full season fantasy sports as well. Make sure you check out a Sleeper. When you go there, use promo code LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. The Braves will face the Rockies on Monday night at 8:40 p.m. Eastern. Catch every pitch of the Braves' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Braves. Hopefully, we're going to see the return of Ozzie Albies on Monday night. I know he's been doing all the on-field work. Everything looks like he's on track to come back. So wouldn't be surprised we see him in that Colorado series get activated. If that's the case, I wish we'd have got one more start on Sunday night for Vaughn Grissom, but either way, be excited to get Ozzie Albies back, especially the Braves could be seeing a couple of lefties in this series as well. So look for that on Monday. In the game on Monday, it'll be Bryce Elder versus Austin Gomber. I hope I'm saying that name right. But Austin has gone at least 5 innings and 13 straight starts, so he's done a great job giving the Rockies innings, and he's given up 2 earned or less in 8 of those starts. So he's been really good in those outings as well. Doesn't walk a lot, doesn't strike out a lot. So putting the ball in play and forcing fastball 43% of the time, that averages 90.7 miles per hour. Seems like a pretty good recipe for the Atlanta Braves offense to kind of tee off on that, especially in that ballpark. So we'll see what happens. Does have a pretty good pitch mix, has a curveball with a very high spin rate in the high 70s. So still, that's some pretty good drop and velocity off his fastball that he can kind of play with there. But he's really looking on deception, pitch velocity changes. But again, with you're throwing your fastball 43% of the time, Braves hitters are usually going to key in on that and have some success. As for Bryce Elder, no home runs in his last 3 starts. That's going to be huge playing in this ballpark, keeping the ball on the ground, and just 3 hits allowed in his last 2 starts as well. So certainly he's been pitching a lot better here, at least his last couple of starts. Has been dealing with the walks, though. He's given up 11 walks in his 4 August starts, something that he's got to do a better job of. You can't be walking people in this ballpark. And then, even I know he hasn't been getting up the home runs lately, but that tends to lead to issues. It is a big outfield out there. If the Braves are going to be facing some lefties in this series, hopefully we do see Kevin Pillar in left field, because that is a big outfield to cover. So we'll see what happens there. Pillar gets some starts. No, he hasn't been great with the bat lately, and Eddie has been, but certainly would help the defense there with some of these pitchers Like I said, 11 walks in 4 August starts, including 3 in 3 games. So, or 3 games where he's walked at least 3 batters. So want to see that improve for Bryce Elder, but he's been pitching much better his last 2 outings. Hopefully that will continue. One more time, it'll be the Braves and the Rockies on Monday night at 8:40 p.m. Eastern. Bryce Elder versus Austin Gomber. Catch every pitch of the Braves' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Braves. That will do it for this episode of the Locked On Braves. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of each and every day. If you're an everydayer, let me know down in the comment section below. Make sure that you follow the podcast on Twitter at LockedOn_Braves. Follow me at ShortstopBall. Make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe to the Locked On Braves podcast wherever you get your podcast, and we will talk to you next time.